This video will show you how to replace the knock sensor on a Pontiac Grand Prix with a 3.8-liter engine. This will be located on the front of your engine, but accessed from under your vehicle. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. A quick note about doing this, we will have to make our way under the front of the vehicle to drain the cooling system. But we're starting up along the top under the hood. Along the passenger side of the radiator, this is where our radiator cap is. We're going to have to carefully open this. Never open it if the cooling system's hot to the touch. If you've just been running the vehicle, you need to let it cool down. Could be under pressure. We'll carefully take hold of the cap. We're going to turn it counterclockwise and we'll lift it up and away from our face. Just a quick inspection of that cap. Now I'm just going to rest it on top. Let's make our way under the front of the vehicle. As we make our way under the front of the vehicle, we can see the front corner of our subframe on the driver's side. We're making our way just in front of that along the back side lower corner of the radiator. This is where we can see our drain plug. Now I'm going to be using a 19 millimeter. I'm going to turn this counterclockwise and we're waiting to see coolant drain out of the lower port underneath the radiator. All right, let's let that finish draining. Now, once your coolant finishes draining, we can go ahead and close that drain plug. 19 millimeter for that. Right there is bottomed out. Just take it a tiny bit further. Let's make sure that that's secured in place. While we're still under the front corner of the vehicle, let's make sure we clean around the drain port. Just use some parts cleaner, wipe it down. This is so we can inspect for leaks in the end. That looks good. Now let's make our way towards the knock sensor. We're coming along the front of the engine, down along the bottom, up along the oil pan here is where we can see our knock sensor. Let's start with the electrical connector. Looking up in this area, we can see our knock sensor. We have a one-wire electrical connector. This should have a locking tab. Carefully pull that away from the sensor and disconnect the electrical connector. A quick inspection for corrosion and set the wiring aside. That looks good. Continuing on, we're going to be using a 22 millimeter to start removing the knock sensor. Keep in mind there could still be coolant in this area. Have a collection receptacle under here so you can collect and recycle all that fluid properly. And of course, be careful not to get any on your face or in your eyes. There it is, friend. Now, prior to installing our part, let's make sure we clean and inspect the mounting surface. I'm going to use a clean rag for this. Just a quick wipe and a close inspection. That looks good. Now we can start in our knock sensor by hand. Once we have it started in, we're going to snug it up and then I'm going to torque it to 14 foot-pounds. You're going to find the sensor comes with a special sealant on the threads. You don't need to add any. Now we can torque this to 14 foot-pounds. Once you have it torqued, take hold of it, confirm it does not move in any way. Continue on with your electrical connector. We're going to align our locking tab, press it in, listen for a click from that. After an audible click, a light tug, confirming the wiring is secured. You do not want that coming apart while you're driving down the road. Now I'm just going to clean any mess so I can double check for leaks in the end. And we can make our way back up inside the engine compartment so we can fill our cooling system. Remove the radiator cap. Now there's different ways to fill this. There's a specialty tool, or you can carefully use a funnel. I'm going to be using a funnel tool, so I'm using a small adapter inside of the port. This is going to act as the radiator cap. It should just screw right onto that radiator. Let's make sure there's no movement from that adapter. Now, since I don't want my funnel coming in at an angle, I'm just going to use this small angled portion. And now I can install the funnel. Now that I have the funnel in place, I'm going to be using the manufacturer's specified coolant. You can also use universal coolant. I'm going to be adding it into my funnel and it'll start making its way down inside of the cooling system. At first, typically the fluid will make its way in and you're going to see air bubbles. Eventually, typically it's going to stop. At that point, you would want to start the vehicle. Let it run and get up to normal operating temperature. It's going to circulate the coolant throughout the entire cooling system and remove any air. We'll have to top off the fluid as necessary. After running the vehicle, you've heard the cooling fans turn on and it's up to normal operating temperature. It's time to remove the coolant fill funnel. So for this, we have our small plunger. We're going to go deep inside of that funnel area. We're going to press it down. That's going to restrict the coolant making its way out of the funnel so we don't spill. Of course, we do have a collection receptacle under this entire time. We'll set that aside for recycling. After removing that, we can take off the rest of the coolant funnel assembly here. Install your coolant cap. Make sure it's nice and tight. Clean any mess in this area. Okay, friend, we finished our job. Now at this point, we've already run the vehicle, we know our cooling fan turned on, and we've circulated all coolant throughout the system. Clean any mess, close the hood, and take your vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.